Buddy Mike Anderson here again with American Independent Marketing. I trust you can all see my screen, the presentation there. As you can see, the title of today's presentation is Let's Make a Sale. The challenge was if you wanted to make a sale this week to join us, we'd have some ideas for you. We'd show you how you can get that done yet this week without a problem. Today's agenda, as we spend the next half hour or so together, we're going to cover some basic things, why you're here, why we are here. We're going to spend a lot of time and talk about this one in particular. Some different ideas, maybe things you've not considered, maybe things you weren't even aware that we had, that you can get for a client, a 60-year-old client, if there is such thing as an average 60-year-old client, things that you can get for $50 a month. An agent said once upon a time, in one of our many, many, many conversations with agents, he said the thing that he did that he felt like gave him a chance to be successful was he made it easy for his clients to say yes. And one of the ways to do that is a lower price threshold. So this is going to move you, direct you to look at some products that maybe you hadn't considered before. We'll spend some time at the end and talk about some things that are going on that are new and different with us in terms of ideas and concepts. And we're going to talk with you about some things that you may or may not know about. Some are new here at AIM about technology. So the current market, what's changed? Well, I guess the question there is, where do we start? The Affordable Care Act and the shift in conventional health insurance is what I'll call it, or your primary health insurance, that shift, regardless of where you stand politically, has been significant. Co-pays have increased, deductibles have increased, people have, in many, many cases, a greater exposure, and so they're open to the idea of finding ways to help them deal with what might be a $5,000 family deductible for a particular thing, things like that. We will have some ideas for you today about that. We could probably make a list of 50 things that have changed, but the key word overall with this is that the change has been significant. One of the things that hasn't changed is we, as an industry, agents, FMOs, carriers, we've got the opportunity to help folks. And the truth is, when you boil what you do down, it is about helping people. And we have always tried to put ourselves in a position here where we are helping you help as many people as possible. But one of the things that we ask, we wonder, we question is whether folks are having conversations. Sometimes conversations, when you have to address risk and you have to address change, those conversations are uncomfortable. But remember, Americans are okay with uncomfortable conversations. They have them all the time. They evaluate insurance. They try to qualify for home loans and other different things. They do estate planning. They do financial planning. Those aren't always situations of great comfort, but they are situations that folks are willing to take part in and learn, protect themselves, make the most of, those kinds of things. So think about that and what you're wanting to do. What we believe needs to change is for agents to be a little bit more open to having those uncomfortable conversations. It might be uncomfortable for you. It might be uncomfortable for the client that you're having it with. But the job that you're tasked with is helping them solve a problem. And problem solving is not always easy and it's not always comfortable. But at the end of the day, what you're doing for them is saying, hey, look, here's what you face. Here's the options to deal with it, to adjust, to cover it, to take care of it, whatever it is that you want to say. And, we've got ways that are reasonably priced for the most part that we can put solutions in play to help you out. Okay. The market itself, conditions, we talked about those. It's changed a lot. It continues to change a lot. We're not going to spend a ton of time today talking about long-term care, but just remember this: the next time you kind of go, long-term care, 90% of the adult workforce in this country does not have long-term care. Within that framework, 50% of the people that are 65 or older now will eventually need help with care that the current insurance framework, Medicare, Medicaid, etc., doesn't pay for. Okay, agents are telling us all the time they're looking for leads. That's a great lead source. It's got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 million people out there. If you're willing to have that conversation, you're going to have a lot of great opportunities. So there is demand out there for what it is that you do. Sometimes it's demand that folks aren't even aware of. Sometimes it's demand that you create by virtue of these conversations. So the next question, and this is really, it's a bit rhetorical, I'm not asking you to answer, but think about the market that you're in and whether you're making the most of those opportunities. And as a result of that market, then let's say MedSup, for example, as a result of being in or seeing yourself in the MedSup market, are you making the most of that? Are you talking to your over 65 clients about final expense? Are you talking to them about making sure that their kids understand, their kids that are in their late 30s and 40s, that they understand what they face? All right. Think about the market that you're not in. Okay, I think everybody wants to think that they do. You know, it's one of those deals where if you as an agent don't have it, the client doesn't need it, that type of thing. But think about really the market segments that you're not in. Okay, Medicare Sup, good market. There's some volatility to it for sure, but there's a lot of other pieces that you can add to what you do to help your clients with MedSup and with MedAdvantage. You'll see some of those products here today. Are you making the most of those opportunities? All right. There seems to be, and it's an interesting thing, but there's a big demand, and we'll talk about it here in a few minutes. There's a big demand these days for final expense. And the interesting thing is life insurance has been around for several hundred years, but yet every once in a while they pull it out of the closet and they dust it off and they bring it back out with a new name, final expense, something like that, final needs, whatever it is. But when you boil it down, it's life insurance, and it allows people to take care of what are increasing costs as far as funeral expenses and things that come around as part of the end of life thing. It might let them pay off a mortgage, pay off a credit card, any number of different things. But after years where they let their life insurance go, kids were through school, et cetera, now they need it again. That's, if that's a market you're not in, it's a market that a lot of agents find to be very, very lucrative. And there's other pieces. So ask yourself that question and be really honest with yourself when you're looking in the mirror, and really critical in terms of your thinking. The decisions you make about the market you're not in and what to do can have a lot to do with growing your business. And realize as we look here, we're going to show you solutions for both the market you're in and in all likelihood, the market that you're not in. So we'll start here. We're going to run through, I think we got about 9 or 10 different things here. Not going to spend a whole lot of time boring in, if you will, on, I want to open this up here, boring in on the product details, because in some cases we have 4 or 5 products that come into a different category or a particular category. So keep in mind as we go through the AIM website, which is whyaim.com, it has information on all of these products and all of these carriers. So as we go through, make a note to yourself if you want to know something about this final expense or that accident or whatever, you can find it on the AIM website. What we've done with the handouts section of our toolbar, which is on the right-hand side of your screen, what we've done with that section today is we've put in the contracting that you need for several of the carriers that are on this call. Okay. If you've got an interest, take a minute and do that contracting. Make a commitment to yourself. Don't wait until you have a piece of business. Take the time and the energy to fill that contracting out, get it submitted. We know for a fact that will keep that more in the front of your mind because you put that time and energy in. So look for that over on that right-hand side of the screen here. So these are just some different ideas on things that a 60-year-old client can be pitched on, can be sold, so to speak, a solution that'll work for them. And it's going to be in the neighborhood of $50 a month. I think the most we went over was one of the pieces was $62 a month, but everything else is right in that $50 range. Okay. We've got two different standalone home health care plans. Got two different carriers involved in this market. These plans include the extended benefit plan with ambulance benefits and the physical and eyeglasses and hearing aids and all kinds of other add-on things. Really, really reasonable. Typically speaking, you're looking at between $50,000 and $100,000 of home health care, depending on how you configure it. And that's in addition to having a benefit that would pay for a home health care aid and pay for a physical. So the greatest majority of the time, when you cost these out and you throw in the prescription benefit, you're looking at a situation where the client is going to get their money back in a worst case situation. And in a lot of scenarios, they're going to be ahead. And perhaps most importantly with this, these are essentially guaranteed issue. Okay, you can't legally say guaranteed issue because they do ask qualifying questions, but the qualifying questions that they ask, both plans, both carriers, those qualifying questions are not medical questions. All right, these are a great opportunity. You can use this with somebody that's over 65 that didn't think about long-term care before and they're nicked up a little bit health-wise. Any number of different ways that you can go. But because of the fact that they're guaranteed issue, it's really hard to go wrong with having this conversation with your clients about these products. Kemper and GTL are the two carriers here. Again, you can find the information on the AIM website. They're not available in every state, but they're available in most states. And because agents are doing so much over the internet these days, we made a decision building this presentation that we weren't going to spend a lot of time screening based on states. Agents in California are writing in Oregon, and agents in Oregon are writing in Idaho, and agents in Washington are writing in Montana. So we stayed away from geographic boundaries just to make these things available. So number two here, moving along, what else can you get for $50 a month? Okay, in this case, carrier specific, GTL's critical cash plan. You can make a $750 base benefit available for a client for a 12-month benefit period, as well as a $2,000 facility benefit. Okay, great option here. Total benefits will be about $100,000. We see a lot of long-term care type things that are type benefit plans where you're in the 90s and the hundreds, very low hundreds in terms of what they're making available for a total benefit. Okay. The thing that makes this plan unique, if you are not aware of it, this is a diagnosis-based plan. It's a critical illness, long-term care hybrid, and it's diagnosis-based. So there is no 90-day waiting period. There is no 2 of 6 ADLs. If your client is diagnosed as having cancer, you get the pathology back from the lab, you submit it, and the benefit payments begin. All right. This is a great way, another great way of taking care of health impaired clients. One of the things to remember is that when you have somebody standing in your office doorway and they won't let you get out of there until you have a conversation with them about long-term care, it may be that they now realize they've got a health problem and that getting long-term care is going to be difficult. This is a way that you can not put them through the underwriting grinder, but still make benefits available for them. Moving on to the next one. Again, this is one of the ones that was a tad over. Okay, This is a product called Sick Pay from Combined Insurance. It allows you to give somebody basically sick pay. All right. And in this case, for this $56 monthly benefit or monthly premium, you're looking at a base benefit that would give your client $800 a month of income replacement for a 12-month period of time. And the contracting for Combined is over here on the toolbar there, and it'll give you it is up to 6 months of coverage. The 12 months is incorrect. I apologize about that. Anyway, an $800 base benefit up to 6 months of coverage. Phenomenal opportunity. There's a lot of folks out there that can't get disability insurance. All right. This will help those folks out. Again, another way to make a sale, another combination to have if you've got a 60-year-old guy who's a contractor, something like that, where they can't afford to miss work. This can help fill in that crack. Moving along here, we threw this one kind of in the middle, good old-fashioned long-term care. Believe it or not, for a 60-year-old guy, you can put together a reasonable long-term care plan. Keeping in mind that our belief is any plan is a good plan. You got a $2,000 monthly benefit out of a pool of $100K with 1% compound inflation. All right. So you've got something here that's workable. The important piece in all of this is that this particular individual can buy more inflation at any point in time for the first 15 years after they buy the policy. That's guaranteed. No underwriting, no muss, no fuss. They can buy their way up to 2 or 3 or whatever it is they want up to the product limit of 5% compound. Okay. Again, just right about $600 a year for this for a 60-year-old guy. Something you probably didn't think about. An easy way to start a conversation with long-term care. Hey, we can knock this out of the ballpark, Bob. We can knock it out for about $50 a month. That's a good way to get started. So, moving along. Guaranteed issue final expense. I kind of talked about final expense at the beginning. We got multiple carriers within our lineup that can make a guaranteed issue final expense plan available. I think we have 4 or 5. And we've got some of the carrier contracting there. All right. You can find more information out on the website. Typically, you're going to get about a $10,000 to a $15,000 benefit. Obviously, final expense, when it's guaranteed issue, costs a little bit more than it would if you went through the regular underwriting process. But the key piece is it does make something available for folks to cover cremation expenses, some part of burial expenses, those kinds of things that literally covers the final expenses that they would have. I think, again, about 5 carriers. You want to go to whyaim.com, look under that final expense tab. You're going to find all kinds of information there on all these different carriers. And as I noted before, final expense is a hot button topic now. People are talking about it. If you're in that Medicare sup market space, this is a great conversation you can have with folks after you get them taken care of, after you get through the annual enrollment period. Everybody's looking for things to do January, February, March, April, kind of in that dry period there. Start conversations with your clients about putting together a final expense program for themselves and for their family. Click through here. Come on, there we go. Okay. Also, again, multiple carriers here. We've got accident expense plans. There's multiple configuration options, literally so many that we could spend hours just talking about the different ways that you can configure this. But there's a lot of ways to go about putting the plan together that's going to get you in that $50-ish per month range, that affordability point that folks are comfortable with. Make it easy, like that agent told me before, make it easy for people to say yes. This is also good for younger clients too. It can be done, and obviously that premium is going to be less expensive for these younger folks. Just an easy, you see Aflac talking all the time about, the different stuff they've got. Well, these are going to go with higher amounts than what Aflac would make available. And if a guy, breaks a leg playing softball or not skateboarding, God, I don't know too many 40-year-olds that skateboard, but snowboarding or skiing or whatever, this would take care of that. Just another different way to to problem solve to help more people. Back to a kind of a specific plan here that fits into the Medicare Sup and Medicare Advantage market, this GTL Advantage Plus product. Great product. The contracting for GTL is over there in the toolbar. If you're interested, I'd encourage you to get that contracting and get it in here. This is, again, one of those products where there are so many options that the number of ways you could configure it within this $50 operating framework, far too many of those to try to cover, but it does allow you to have that conversation, put something else in play that'll help these folks deal with little things that come up along the way, and to do it in a way that doesn't break the bank. And the biggest thing that these do is these cover little out-of-pocket things that happen, okay? You get drug copays that come about as a result of something that happens, any number of different things, but out-of-pocket expenses, those can chew folks up. This will take care of that, and it's really, really well priced. A lot of different options that I didn't talk to you about: ambulance options, cancer, dental, vision options, a lot of different ways to put this thing together and make it work for clients. If you're working in that senior space, Medicare Sup, Med Advantage, I would encourage you strongly to take a look at this thing. I think you're really going to be impressed with what it does in terms of making options available to take care of your clients. Critical Advantage. This is a new product from Mutual of Omaha. It is a lump sum critical illness benefit plan that covers cancer, heart attack, and stroke. Now, because of some of the vagaries of critical illness planning, in this particular case, a one-time exception, this is the cost for a 40-year-old. All right, we didn't go with 60 because of some of the specific parts of things that happen with critical illness after the age of 65. Didn't make much sense for a 5-year sale. 40-year-old can get a lump sum benefit like this that would pay, they can keep it for forever, for life, all right? $30,000, cancer, heart attack, stroke. It's Mutual of Omaha. They've got a lot of different things that they can make available for you. I'd encourage you strongly to take a good look at this one. We talked before about guaranteed issue final expense. We've also got a number of different carriers that have what I call standard underwriting or conventional underwriting final expense. Again, this is a hot button topic. Because you're going standard underwriting instead of guaranteed issue, you're probably going to be in the $15,000 to $20,000 range as far as available death benefit. And as I mentioned before, final expense is a hot button topic these days. It's good to be able to have that conversation with your clients and know that you've got an affordable option you can make available for them. Segueing away from the final expense part, Mutual of Omaha's got a great term life portfolio. You can actually pick up at age 60, you can pick up term life, fully underwritten, $25,000 face amount. And obviously it'll go younger than that if you got somebody that needs to add a little to it, whatever it is. Every situation's a bit different. You know, ask them about it. Folks they tend to let their initial foray into insurance go once the kids are married and college expenses are paid for, et cetera, but they still have house payments and all these other kinds of things. So from a standpoint of kind of making sure the family's taken care of, this is always a good conversation to have. And again, having something that's priced in a very affordable manner, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to position yourself to make sure that your clients are taken care of. So, and this particular rate here is a 20-year term with a guaranteed rate. So those rates are guaranteed for 20 years. Your 60-year-old can buy this at age 60 and keep it until age 80. Great deal. Great deal. So just a kind of a light note here about learning new products, because probably some of this is going to involve learning new products. As you can see, it's lots of fun. There's paper and phone calls and everything else involved with this. This was designed to just be, and invite a little bit of levity into our particular conversation here today. told you before we were going to kind of close up with a couple of updates, for lack of a better way to put it. What's new at AIM in terms of concept? So over the last few months, if you've been paying attention, you've seen a number of different webinars for us that are not product specific, so to speak. They're more about concepts. That includes, and some of these will be coming back in the upcoming schedule for August that's underway. We've got Long-Term Care Matters. We've got Risk Management, why it's so important. We've got a new one we haven't even brought out yet that you'll be seeing very soon called Find Your Voice. And the last one today, you saw the maiden voyage of Make a Sale, some things that you can do, some new products that you can consider that will help you make sales going forward. You know, if you get going with these, they'll help you make a sale. You start having that conversation. You can make a sale with one of these yet this week. By way of a commercial for our upcoming webinar this Friday at 8:45 a.m., it will be the consumer presentation for the Securian CareShield product. You've heard us talk about it a lot. It's a great alternative to traditional long-term care. It's phenomenal if you're working in the market where you have access to single females. There's a lot of reasons why this prices out every bit as good as traditional long-term care. I would encourage you strongly to tune in to that presentation. Dennis Reiner, our trainer, will be doing that Friday morning at 8:45 Pacific time. He'll be talking about that consumer presentation for the CareShield product. So what's new at AIM as far as technology? Some's new, some you may not know about. Our website, I pointed you there before, whyaim.com. All right. The website makes available both MedSup and long-term care quoting capability. It's got a pending application tracking system that will keep you up to speed on what's going on with the business that you've got in the door now. We do, separate from that, make available with the Mutual of Omaha product the best, absolute best long-term care software in the industry. You can get that at whyaim.com/software. That downloads the dashboard version of the Mutual of Omaha software. You show it to your clients, it answers questions, helps them walk right through the process. Agents tell us it's actually a really good sales aid with clients because it's so easy for them to see the impact of various questions that they ask and how you switch the variables around and such. Brand new and available now is the mobile phone app for CareShield. All right, you can go into the App Store or the Google Play Store on your smartphone, search for CareShield, and then download an app that is just absolutely fantastic. If you need a quick price for CareShield, download this thing. You just hit in like 3 different variables, and it tells you what the price is going to be for a $150,000 face amount policy with that product. And we haven't talked about that, but I'm just telling you, this is a phenomenal add-on to a very robust tech platform that we've got. So the last piece, this is one that we can email over to you if you want. It's the Critical Cash Quoting Tool, that GTL Critical Cash product that we talked about at the beginning. We actually have created a web-based quoting tool for that. If you want to get a copy of that, you can send me an email. We'll get that information over to you. That one's not available off the website. So as we move forward, next steps. Okay, number one, get appointed. If you're really interested in moving forward with one of these products, we'll get you the paperwork. Let's get that taken care of right off the bat rather than waiting down the road. That just creates a lot of confusion. It puts us in a situation where we're behind the 8 ball and there's a missing piece, et cetera. So make the commitment to yourself and to your clients. Take those steps and get appointed with GTL or Mutual, whoever you don't have, and whoever you want to bring into your conversation. Take a minute, get yourself up to speed. As you can see, the location right here, the website, the materials for all the products that we talked about are on the AIM website by category. They're available to you right now. Get yourself on there, take a look, get a brochure, whatever, get up to speed, have a conversation, and then the next obvious piece, which is the beginning of everything, is start the conversation. Spend the time, talked to clients? Have you talked about final expense? Have you talked about this? Have you talked about that? If you know the clients, you know what they've got, you know what they don't have, that makes it very easy to start those conversations with them. So I'm going to go ahead here and unmute folks so that we can take questions. So give me a second here. Okay. The website that we talked about for the that we talked about in the conversation is whyaim.com, WHYAIM.com. That's where you can go to get all this material. So we're going to unmute folks. As always, we ask you that if you're not going to participate with questions, to go ahead and mute yourself. That way we don't have background noise with tea kettles buzzing, dogs barking, etc. I am kind of quick on the trigger finger if we do get extraneous noise in the background that interrupts and creates conflict here. So any questions anybody's got on any of the things that we covered here today? Okay, well, I would again call your attention here to the handout section. I would jump in there, grab the contracting for any of these carriers that you saw us talking about today that you want to get moving forward with, get that filled out, get them back to us, and we'll get you taken care of. In the meantime, the website to go to get access to anything that you need is right here, www.whyaim.com. You can go there, you can log yourself in, you can do Medicare sub quotes, long-term care quotes, pull down information on any of the different products that we talked about. So since we don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap everything up. I appreciate y'all making your time available here today. And don't forget, Friday morning, 8:45 Pacific time, will be our webinar on the CareShield consumer presentation. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.